Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
There is an optional rule to play with these ghost traps. If you want to make things a little bit more realistic but a lot harder on yourself, you can add these ghost traps. Instead of just having enough streams, you would have to actually put a trap out. The way they works is that you may spin a maneuver to deploy one of these. So you would spin a maneuver and you would deploy it out on the board. And it would also cost a maneuver to retrieve it back. So that's kind of what you're dealing with, is an extra little maneuver that would be required. Now, remind you, it's going to give you up things you can do on a turn. If you wanted to trap the requirement has been met, it goes on the same space as the trap. And you were adjacent to the trap, you can spin a maneuver to put the ghost in there. So you're looking at about 3 maneuvers in order to do that if it's perfectly done. If the 2-trap requirement for ghost has been met, you have at least 1 stream on the ghost. You may spin a combat action against that ghost and move it 1 space towards a trap. So if he's not near it, you can bring it to it or closer to it 1 space by using an action. That's going to use up quite a bit of actions if you don't get this out on the right space. So that's how these are going to work. It's going to make the game harder but more realistic. But it's definitely going to add to complexity because you're going to need to be doing more things. So be aware of that when you're playing. Here's a rulebook for Ghostbusters 2. I do like the artwork. It's all unique artwork. It's not steals from the show. You're going to have a storyline that will be provided, which is very interesting. And you're going to see this throughout the rulebook. You're then going to get a component list of all the pictures, everything that should be included in it, which is aces. This should be included in every game. I like it quite a bit. Then you're going to have preparing to play. It's going to go over just some of the things that you're going to find and kind of what they are and give you an overview, kind of how things work. One of the really, really stinky things is there are rules hidden in here that you will need to play the game. In particular, the goo pile, and that you get experience points, and how the goo pile works. It will be listed in this preparing to play section. Boo! You don't want rules in this section, especially if they're going to be here, they need to be somewhere else also for quick reference. This section is going to be about the Ghostbusters and kind of how they work. This is okay. I don't know if I like how this is set up, but it tells you about the entity movement, experience points. You will go back to this a lot, especially this section here about ghosts, which is put in the Ghostbusters section. So, okay. And kind of how they move, line of sight, that kind of stuff. What happens if you get slimed. I would have liked this later on in the book, but it's right here. The figure bases, how they work. So some of the bad guys, the ghosts, will get these colors put on. They're going to represent different things. There's no player aid. You will have to come back to here if you want to find out about it. Then you have a section about goo piles and Class S equipment and events and how they work. I come back to this quite often, but you do need to know it. Then you're going to have a little bit more story in this part too. Why they did this, I don't know. But here it is. And then you're going to have how gameplay. This is the important part. This is how it works. You're going to have a round overview, then a turn overview with the actions listed. I wish they would have also listed the maneuvers here, and they're not going to come later. That way I would have had a quick reference point right here, but they did not. So they're going to go through all of the actions. And this is a fairly good. I didn't really have too many problems. It's loosey-goosey, but it works for me. I kind of wish that, they're all listed right here, which is great. And then they go into more detail, which is great. And it does take up quite a bit of real estate here in the book. And then here's going to be the maneuvers. They never list all the maneuvers. Yes, they list them here, and you can kind of see what's going on. But I would like that call sheet, that index almost that they had in the beginning. Then more rules. And you never see like a turn order. Like this is the end. This is the, it's down here kind of hidden away how the goo thing works. I wish it had been more prominent. And you're probably going to look at this and say, oh, you're explaining it. It works out perfectly. It is because I played it. I'm familiar with it. But when you're referencing back, it's tough. It really is. And then how the Ecto Tank and Ecto 1 work is over there. And then Lady Liberty, she needs her own explanation because she's so huge. And then some keywords here that will come up. Honestly, they're not all listed here. I ran into some problems when I was playing. And then the scenario setup. For some reason, the setup, once again, is in the back of the book. It's fine. I see what's going on here, but it's weird that it's at the end of the book. Then you have some optional rules. The trap, which I'll go over in a flow of play, that you have here. And then your credits. And then you're going to have a reference at the back, which is fine. This works out fairly well. I wish it went over the turn more than just the actions and maneuvers. And I had to go back in here if you forget like exactly what happens at the beginning of a turn. So the turn is in here, just some quick references. It's fine. A lot of people are complaining about this rule book. When you're playing it, there's some things in. There's also some problems. So you're going to have this rule book. You're going to have these scenarios. And this is the most famous scenario mistake that I've found so far. Is that you have these goo piles up here, all this stuff going on. I don't know if you can see it or not here, but this blocks off everything. And people have said that this is a mistake. Like, why can't I go up and get these goo piles? And if I can't go get them, why do they exist? There's no reason for them to be there, because remember, it continues the timer on, and you're completely blocked off. So what I've done when I play, I make this a little door right here that we can go through and we can play. That's what I do. The official ruling is, we did this on purpose. I think that's doubtful, because the goo piles you're supposed to go to, flip them over to get experience and to get additional time in the game. So why they would block those off and have those over there, it just doesn't make any sense. There's no way to get over there with the way it's printed. So I feel like that there might be some scenario mistakes on here. That's going to bother some gamers. I think the rulebook is a little rough. You know what? But I was able to play it. I was able to have fun with this, and that's fine. I am fine like that. I'm fine saying, I think they made a mistake here, and if they don't want to admit it, let's put a door right there, and we're going to have fun when we play Ghostbusters 2. That's going to bother some people. There's also going to be some typos that you're going to have down here from time to time, and you just have to sort it out. It's not going to make a lot of sense. So there are some typos, some scenario mistakes. I wonder if it was play tested all that well, but that's what you're going to have. So take that with a grain of salt. Rulebook, it's probably a C-. With some of these mistakes, you're probably looking at a D to an F if you're grading this. Like some of this stuff, like being completely blocked off and mistakes, like this kind of mistake, I can almost live with. This kind of mistake really makes it unplayable unless you're willing to just kind of go with the flow. So there you are.
Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel. Lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing.